following Chalk Talk is brought to you by Isolite, the emergency lighting experts. Stay educated, my friends.
Some very exciting news to share coming out of the Isolite camp. Greg Keel welcomed his little girl to the world yesterday, which is awesome. Everybody's doing great. Mom and baby are healthy. They already sent a message to me this morning saying that they're not sleeping. So already getting a heavy dose of what parenting is going to look like. But congratulations to Greg and his wife Courtney on their beautiful baby girl. Good morning, everybody. My name is Matt Bird, Vice President. Along here with you today is Mr. Tom Deutsch, who is our sales support engineer. And as we lead into the unofficial last 2 days of the work summer, which is kind of crazy to say, we are going to touch on some new resources that are available to you. And our goal, everyone, is, as we kind of harp on, is to be the easiest people that you all do business with, not just from an emergency standpoint, but to try to give you the tools and resources so that you can be as effective and efficient as you can be with all of your customers. So without further ado, Tom, I would like to turn it over to you, and happy holiday weekend to everybody.
Thanks, Matt, and congratulations to Greg on his pregnancy. I'd also like to announce that I am also pregnant. I am pregnant with emotions to be taking you guys through some really, really exciting new resources today. So what we're going to do today is a little bit different. I'm actually going to exit us out of the presentation, and we are going to go onto the website and we are going to go explore some new stuff and have some fun. So without further ado, let's exit the presentation. Going places we've never gone before. And we're going to head over to the Isolite website. So this product section, I think we're all pretty familiar with. The company, this is just about us, find an agent. All of this is pretty obvious. The one thing that I think has some little Easter eggs and some little nooks and crannies that maybe we're not all super familiar with is this resource center. And this resource center is indeed an excellent resource for us. So I want to sort of take us through this. I did just reorganize this. I made sure that it's super user friendly and that all the important stuff is loaded up top. So I really wanted to, the purpose of this Chalk Talk is to sort of announce these changes I made, show you guys what's new, and for some of us that might not be as familiar with the Resource Center, to show you also just, what we're providing to you guys. So I'm going to take you through real quick this Resource Center. So to the right, you'll see trainings and more. We got some really cool stuff. Here, I'm not going to, spend any time going through this stuff today, but we do have some blogs. Evan has written some really nice blogs here. I'd say that's a highlight. You can also request trainings if you'd like any, factory visits or any sort of inverter training, startup training, that sort of thing. So also inverter monitoring, if you are an end user, for example, and you're looking to dig into our portal for monitoring your inverter, you can do that there. But to the left, this is sort of how I've reshuffled things. So first we have the Chalk Talks. Obviously you guys are in a Chalk Talk, so you're decently familiar with these, but for anyone who doesn't know, these are recorded. Every single one of these, every single monthly Chalk Talk is recorded and stored on the website. So all, going back 6 years, they're all on here. So we cover some really good topics, obviously. All this information is super useful, 15-minute deep dives into, what have you. And they're all listed here for you guys to use. So those are pretty important, and it's a pretty excellent resource. That's why this is first up. Next is product downloads. So most of you are aware that if you go and click onto a specific product, you can obviously use the little search bar to search for it. But if you end up on a products page, you'll see that there is a little section for all the little documents and things that come along with that product, right? All these available downloads section right here. So along with the spec sheets, you have many other resources that come along with each product. And another way you can get to those is through product downloads right here. So you have, mounting diagrams, you got the spec sheets all listed here as well if you want to get to a spec sheet this way. IES files for all of the emergency lights. Got install guides and self-diagnostic instructions as well. So really good resource here if you want to, a different way to get to, say you need a cut sheet and you don't want to, go through it through the product way, you can go through on there. Helpful documents, this is something that's brand new, and I'm going to dig into in a second. This is something that I just added. I wanted to make sure that all of the real helpful stuff is super obvious, and I made it super obvious by calling it helpful documents, so that's listed right there. And then real quick, I'll just take us through AIA. So we're constantly adding AIA courses. You guys, most of you are familiar with the inverter courses. There's one on exit signs. There's one on emergency lights. There's also one on 924 and 1008 devices. And then the two that I've recently worked on and added are this 1020 emergency lighting cost comparison. This is going to help you compare costs of emergency lighting. Stay tuned for a helpful document to go along with that. And then also one that I actually haven't given any of these yet, just landed on our website. This is the 1030 battery technologies. This is where I went super in depth on batteries. So if anybody's a nerd like me and is really curious about one of the most important technologies in our entire world, batteries, feel free to take this course because it is going to be educational in terms of life safety, but it's also going to be educational for battery nerds as well. So super great course there. Feel free to reach out and schedule any single one of these courses with us. But I want to jump now into this helpful documents tab. This is something I spent a little bit of time working on. I went through every single one of our guides that we did have available and I updated it. I also added some new guides as well, and I reshuffled things so that everything was super, presentable and easy to find here. So we have a couple different tabs. We have general guides, inverter guides, forms, and application guides. Under the first section, general guides, it's split into two. You have your guides, and then you also have some more technical documents. These general guides are going to tend to be more like sales sheets, sell sheets, and that sort of thing. So we have this product selection guide, a good, better, and best list, all the way ranging from your most economical option of any specific exit or emergency light or inverter type, all the way up to the most specification grade, highest end options. So you have a list here for each specific application, for example, Chicago exits, New York, even mobility. So it gets pretty specific. We also have BAA compliant products. This is an entire list of everything that's BAA. If you need a product that's BAA, then you can find it on this list. All of the spec sheets will also list BAA, but this is a great way for us to, if you need something that's BAA, to just have a list all in one place. IP rating guide, this is just a cute little page just showing you how the IP rating works. First number is for solid intrusion, second is for liquid. As you go up the ladder, in other words, the higher the number, the more protection you're going to have. A lot of our products are either IP65 or 66, which does mean that they're pretty much completely waterproof and dustproof. Even at, for example, they're tested with jets of water being sprayed directly at them, which is a little more extreme than you're going to find in most of your applications, especially with, precipitation and stuff like that. One new thing we have is this product replacement sheet. This is going to be sent out and blasted to all of our reps through a constant contact, but for now, I'll show you guys because this is brand new. We are eliminating, or have eliminated all of these products. So all of these products are gone now, but don't worry, you're not missing out on anything. We actually have some new products to fill in their spaces, and all of these beautiful new products, I will say, are definitely an upgrade. So here you can find the current cross, if you are looking to specify any of the products maybe you were used to specifying in the past. We also have a nice little list of all of our cold weather products. So anything that's going to be especially good, at an extended temperature range, you'll find on this beautiful sheet. And for anyone wondering what the alphabet soup, that was the name of the chalk talk I did on this, and that was the point when I created this sheet. If you're wondering what all of the alphabet soup is on our spec sheets, and you see a bunch of letter codes, 2 or 3 letter codes, and you're like, well, what does that actually do? What actually is a fire alarm interface? You can come in here and you can get the definition of all this stuff. And that will be good for all of our exit signs, emergency lights, and inverters. Moving on to some more technical documents. So we have this test worksheet. We tell you guys all the time that you need to test your exit signs and emergency lights every single month and every single year, and then also that you need to record that and have it on file. This is for the end user or whoever's managing the building. Well, here's a form to fill that out if you need it. Title 20 white paper, going to describe to you, if you're in California, what Title 20 is, and then it's also going to include an updated list of all of our Title 20 products. Again, you can find that information listed on the spec sheets as well, but it's nice to have everything in one group. We have two different documents, not going to dig into these, but these just basically go into remote, like how long you can run wire depending on the wire size and also the voltage when you're dealing with remote fixtures. So you can use those two resources here for that. We also have this cost comparison Excel form. So this is something I created along with that cost comparison AIA. And it's an Excel sheet where you can input your specific values in terms of the prices for the products you have. And then all you really need is just that pricing and the counts of everything. And we'll calculate not just how much it's going to cost upfront for example, small inverters or large inverters or battery packs or emergency lights, and you can compare all of those. But we are also going to give you the extended 20-year costs. So I go through and there's an advanced section down at the bottom, like actually performing all these calculations, but all you really see are input, where you can input the prices and counts of everything. And I don't get overwhelmed by all of the different columns here because they're just for separate areas. So really all you need if you were just going to do one room or one building is the first area. So this first column, and it's only a couple of rows. And then we'll give you the total installed, including labor, and we'll give you the total 20-year cost of ownership. And then we'll show all of that graphed over time here. So really great resource. Let me know if this is something you've used. I want to make sure, definitely give it a little bit of attention because I don't think I've done an amazing job at advertising it. Also, if you have any questions here, all these little purple tabs here, they're not working for me right now for some reason, but when you hover over them, you'll see little comments from me helping guide you through the process. So an awesome resource there for sure. And then there's also some more stuff. So specifically things relating to inverters, which obviously are really important. We have cell sheets. So we have the inverter advantage. This is basically comparing us to our competitors and basically explaining how our inverters are better in every way, which is awesome. We love that. We have just a general cell sheet on our inverters, a general cell sheet on the E3 Mini. We have a little mini cost comparison of mini inverters and battery packs. We have footprint comparisons, so this is comparing us to the industry as well and showing that we are very, very competitive in terms of the size of our inverters and the footprint, the amount of space they take up in an electrical closet. So at many different sizes, we are the smallest on the market. And then specifically, we have a sheet just for all those inverter options, which are probably more confusing than just for the exit signs and emergency lights. So I go a little bit more in depth on those. I also have some technical documents, the BMS points list. You're probably familiar with this on the spec sheets for the E3 Mac and E3 Max series. Inverter sizes and cabinet configurations. This is every single inverter, large inverter, E3 Mac and Max that we make. And they're every single different configuration of cabinets you can get is going to be listed here with the size, what's in them, amount of breakers you can have, the amount, how much they weigh, how many pallets they ship on. So super great information there. We got our manuals as well. And something else I just came out with for any time that anyone on the site needs to know the amount of raw materials in the inverters for, safety reasons and what have you. You will have the amount of lead in them, the amount of sulfuric acid, etc. Also included are the specific details on our batteries, and we have that for the E3 Max and the E3 Mac. So a lot of great information there. We also have forms, different forms if you need to fill out, anything, for example, end of life for your self-luminous signs, figuring out how to recycle those, an RMA request, different forms you can fill out there. And finally, my last grand big announcement here is I am in the process of creating these application guides. So if you have a specific building type that you're interested in, say hospitals, You can click on this. It'll suggest a great exit sign, a great emergency light, and a great inverter. It'll describe why. It'll describe the specific demands of, for example, hospitals, and then give you some helpful hints along the way as well. So right now we have hospitals, outdoors, and schools, but there will end up being about a dozen of these application guides listed under helpful documents. I'm going to head back into the presentation now because that is all that I have for you. Again, all of this stuff is available on the website. Please go and check out that new resource center. Please feel free to schedule an AIA course with us. And as always, there will be a follow-up email with a link to this training as well as a PDF of the presentation. Thank you so much for listening. Together with Evan Ackman, Greg Keel, and Matt Bird, I've been Tom Deutsch, and we are so happy to have you guys here. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions about anything, or if you need any support at all. All of our emails are listed here. Feel free to email anyone. Feel free to email me.
And Tom, I see we do have a question in there, and as you open that up and address it, I did want to point out that emergency lighting cost comparison sheet that Tom built for us and have on the website has become a really important and powerful tool that we've gotten some very good feedback from specifiers and other agents across the country who have started to lean on that. Because one of the biggest questions that we get is, when does it make sense to use an inverter versus the other stuff? And that sheet answers that question for us. So I would get comfortable having that, pin it to a bar if it makes sense that it comes up a lot, and be able to access that, because Tom spent a lot of time in going through and putting that in a place that is useful and helpful specifically for what you guys get asked a lot. So, all right, I just want to point that out. Go ahead, Tom, if you want to address Sean's question.
Of course. Awesome. So yeah, Sean, so it seems like it would be helpful to include a link to the options on the cut sheet. That is a very, very solid point. And up until a couple months ago, we didn't, and I think that was an issue. It wasn't very nice that you couldn't necessarily figure out what some of the options were. So I did actually go in, I believe it was just a few months ago, and I added not a link, but the page itself is now a part of the E3 Mac and E3 Max cut sheets. I believe it's around page 4 or 5. So if you want to look at a description of the options, that is now listed on there. It's a very good point. Thank you. All right. Well, I'm going to sit back and wait for any more questions. If no more show up, I hope everyone has an excellent weekend, excellent holiday weekend, I should say, as this wonderful summer comes to an end. So I'll hang tight. If there's no more questions, take care.